celebrating 9 years of podcast excellence. The King of Podcasts Radio Network proudly presents the Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us.
So this is the 9th time I've previewed WrestleMania, and I'm a broken record. I know it. I mean, I could go back and look at previous episodes every time I've talked about WrestleMania. And sure, I could put on a nice feel about it and be excited about it and show some hype and, give some buzz. We'll talk about the buzz that's going on, which I'm going to. We're going to talk about all the matches and where things are. But it still doesn't take away the fact when I look at the card and I look at the matches they have, WWE is in steady decline talent-wise because they're not replacing talent with talent. They are using talent that is getting older, that in some cases are going to fade away pretty soon, and they're not irreplaceable. They don't have anybody to take their place. When Ronda Rousey finishes up her part-time contract, when Brock Lesnar decides, okay, I've taken enough money, I'm out. When Edge decides to hang up his boots because he's finally retired. When AJ Styles can't go anymore because at some point he needs to go, he can't take the full schedule and just keep going. I mean, granted, he's doing great. 5-10 years down the line, the future of this business in the biggest wrestling promotion in the world, and they don't have really anyone that is on that card, unlike last year where they did have quite a few people that were having possibilities to do something with them, but they're not. Now, there are a couple of promising stories about the Next in Line program and what they're doing, because they're obviously looking at student athletes, and they're looking at athletes they can recruit out of college, bring them right into the fold, train them properly in the WWE style, and bring them right on board. But there's nobody in NXT right now that has the instant capability of jumping right up and going. I mean, you could say maybe Braun Breaker or Grayson Waller or LA Knight. You could say that about some of those guys. But then you got to ask yourself, okay, then Roman Reigns can only be on top for so long. I mean, at some point, if Brock Lesnar does not beat Roman Reigns, then what's next for Roman Reigns? Who's the next person? Who do you end up dropping the belt to? Do you wait till next year for The Rock? What is it that you do next to help this problem be rectified? Because WWE needs freshness. They're stale. They're struggling. And listen, it's not like we're not going to have a good show this weekend. The card looks stacked. It's good. 2 nights. They're going to do fine. They weren't able to sell it out. Not in the capacity they wanted. But it'll be a respectable crowd for both nights. Obviously, 70,000 plus for both nights. Pretty damn good. But they did sell out 100,000 for one night several years ago. And they're not going to do that now. And you would think with the kind of money that this corporation wants to be able to make, they needed the ticket sales, they needed the gate to be full to satisfy and satiate their stockbrokers, their shareholders, their broadcast partners. They should have been capable with the star power and the magnitude of their audience. They should have been able to jam-pack Cowboy Stadium in Arlington, Texas this weekend, both nights, the rafters filled. Well, they're going to have a good weekend. We know that. They'll have a good card. Some of the matches feel like that we've seen them before. So there's not much that they've done. I mean, they've done work on building storylines. They've done work on building feuds. But really, how much heat do we have for many of them? I don't feel like we're getting that much heat, period. I'm going to say it. I feel like I get more heat and more interest in matches on AEW, NWA, MLW, and in some cases even Impact Wrestling. I do. So I'm settled. Great on a curve. we like other wrestling fans, we accept the mediocrity we get now. That what WrestleMania is. We're not going to get the kind of WrestleManias we have from the past. Not right now with the talent they have. And not with the creative direction they're doing. It's as if they're so afraid to do something so drastic or so powerful to build a star up with so many wins, such momentum, to build them up to a big star and then become a star. And you know why they don't want to do it? I've talked about it. Because they're afraid that star is going to be too big for them to hold on to and they go away. Because if you had stars that would have stayed around and would have stayed, Brock Lesnar would have been around the whole time for them as planned. Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre would have panned out as planned. Batista, John Cena, I don't know, The Rock, all these other stars, if they would have stayed around in the company like Vince probably would have hoped for, as planned, if Triple H could have kept going as planned. You have all these stars that you would hope that would have been around to continue the legacy of this company, so you always had so much star power you didn't know what to do with them. They struggled to get the card filled. And for those of you that think that Seth Rollins is going to go and take on Cody Rhodes, no, it's going to be Shane. I believe it's going to be Shane. If that was the plan for Seth Rollins in the first place, And it's not as if they don't have stars they could build up to be big. Seth Rollins should be on a rocket ship right now. They gave him a match against Roman Reigns and lost. But really, Seth Rollins never got that chance to take the belt off. That's the one guy I felt like that out of everybody right now, outside of Brock Lesnar, you could have had Seth Rollins work on SmackDown, get a feud in with Roman Reigns, and win the belt off of him. Because the thought process, if they're going to let Brock Lesnar take both belts, part-time both belts off the roster for WrestleMania off-season, if that's what they're going to do, if that's what they decide to do, I mean, how happy are everybody's going to feel? If Brock Lesnar won both belts, he wins the unification, and then he's gone. I mean, at least for me, Roman Reigns is going to be around. I'd rather have him on SmackDown, do his little thing, come out there, acknowledge me, and never wrestle really at all, except for pay-per-views, which is fine. And then maybe find somebody else to have him go on in a feud with. Because you have to blow off the feud here with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. You can't keep this going. But there's nothing planned for him. And those two titles are all tied up here. And so you don't have those titles to be involved in anyway. The women's side. So what if Charlotte Flair loses to Ronda Rousey? Another part-timer that might be around, somewhat consistent after in the off season, maybe. I mean, it makes sense for Ronda Rousey to come in and finally win the belt at WrestleMania instead of Charlotte. Well, that'd be fine. But then who's going to be her opponent? Sasha Banks? I hope so. Shayna Baszler? I hope so. And so you have that part, and then Becky and Bianca. So yeah, Bianca winning it again to rectify what they did, which was probably a mistake at SummerSlam last year by having Bianca drop the belt in the fashion that she did. It wasn't as if she couldn't have dropped the belt 3 months after she won it, but it's the way they did it. And now this is retconning what they did at SummerSlam last August. So that's what I feel like Bianca's going to get this belt, and she's going to get it back finally now, and somehow, some way, she has come out better as a result. Because now you still have her chasing the belt. You still have her, answering for the belt. And now we have what happened here. What I'm afraid of is they decided to do that hair angle on Monday night and decide, okay, let's do that. And now Becky's going to have to come out to a new hairstyle. And is that going to be enough heat where Bianca got the heat back leading up to the match? So does that mean Becky wins with a new haircut? I mean, they could do that, and then Bianca for not. Again, they will not let her elevate to that main event level consistently. They'll let her be in the main event picture, but she can't be the main event picture. And the problem is too that the women's division now has gotten stale. They have not moved themselves the needle anymore, because you can tell there's a fading right now in the stars they have now. They have saturated, and they have let certain stars up at the main top of that roster for a long time. Sasha's been up there for a long time. Charlotte, Becky, Bayley, if she weren't hurt, which I'm guessing eventually she's coming back. And they've tried with other stars. Now they finally put Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley together. And they're just trying to see, okay, let's just put this tag team together. Let's put this other tag team together with, Zelina and Carmella. And now they're just going to get 8 women to go ahead and be in a match together, kind of pseudo together, so they can go ahead and get them on the card. The whole involvement we always expect. But that roster now on the women's side is stale. And a lot of those names they had that were going to be around, Shotzi was, up and down. She crashed and burned basically in WWE's eyes on SmackDown. Took away the tank gimmick, took away all of her scripted promos, and she's crashed and burned. No longer relevant. Liv Morgan now, they put her into a tag team after the whole time working with Becky Lynch. Naomi, they had the Sonya Deville thing going on, and other than that, they never put into that title picture much anymore after that. But she's been around forever too. And I'm not saying anything bad about them, but the way they've used them, they're flat. There's not much excitement for any of these stars, and knowing that they win and win and win, and they're so consistently like such a big pop for all of them. Like, who really gets that monster pop? Like tonight, Toni Storm gets like the super pop, just like Ruby Riott got, just like the Hardys got. I mean, it's amazing where you see now the level of excitement at other shows. Killer Kross getting a great response in MLW. Micro Man and MLW. What a great gimmick. And just you look at the reaction, and the crowd is complacent. They're just happy to be there. But there's nothing overall that's surprising or exciting or exhilarating of what you see on the shows on WWE. I mean, I really have felt conditioned to watch Raw, knowing I'm going to watch that first segment because we know there's going to be something somewhat significant, unless it's a match. And then I'll know there's a couple other spots I'm going to catch something that might be interesting, top of 9 o'clock, top of 10 o'clock, and at the end of the night. And SmackDown, the beginning and the end. Pretty much it. But they are formulaic. They really much just want to keep their dancing partners together. No real changes to what the matches are. No freshness on the regular day-to-day programming. And then there's a staleness by the time we get to these matches where the stars haven't really done much. I took notes down that I just wanted to rant about. And I just really just got upset with because they're just where they are. Okay. As I said in the beginning, there literally is no future star power considered at all this year for WrestleMania 38. Look at the names we have on the card. Bianca BelAir is going to be 1. Dominic Mysterio would be 2. And then I guess Rick Boogs. That's it for night 1 on this show at WrestleMania. Because everybody else are established long-time stars. Night 2, Austin Theory. And maybe Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. And you could say Alpha Academy and Street Profits, but that's tag team. Otherwise, no. There's not a lot of young, upcoming talent that's getting a rocket pack on them and shooting to the moon with a large win streak and doing so much. Damian Priest, who was featured in a match last year with a celebrity talent, nowhere to be found. At the moment, I don't know if Omos and Bobby Lashley have been booked for WrestleMania. If that match has been scheduled, I don't know. But it hasn't been added. Oh, okay. Omos and Bobby Lashley is for night 2. So last minute to add to the card. That's pretty much it. Ridge Holland would be another one. Otherwise, really not much more. Not much more than that. And you can't tell me there's a confidence you feel like we're going to get some real big names coming out of this either. I don't think so. Let me continue with my diatribe. So the future star power of the names I just mentioned, who's going to be showing up in 5 years that's going to be WWE Champion, Universal Champion, SmackDown or Raw Women's Champion out of those names? Legitimately. Tell me who's going to be one of those names that's going to really stand out. I don't see it. And that's what I want to talk about. When I go down the card and I look, legends, Hall of Famers, and established stars that have been spotlighted for over a decade. Like if I had to go and look at the names we've seen right now, we're coming up on a decade for the horsewomen. Coming up on a decade. That have been on that main roster. And not to mention the heyday of NXT at Full Sail. And they're the only featured people. And if you go back to previous WrestleManias, you go back to previous, major storylines on Raw or SmackDown over the last decade, you notice the same names have been at the top of the card. Same names have been featured for a long time, unless they were injured, unless they were away. And that's it. Except for Bianca BelAir, the women's division at the top now feels very stagnant. It's stale. It's not fresh. There is not a fresh star in the bunch right now, and there's not anybody I think that's right at the moment that can be at that top spot. And what we need to be aware of is that this company, for them to get some of these next in the line stars some time to ramp up to get to a certain level, we already know that WWE is incapable of getting the stars up to a certain level immediately. Can you think of anybody right now in the last 5 years that they were able to go and bring up and immediately went to stardom overnight? It doesn't happen anymore because this company does not allow that to happen. So that's why they're still in the same situation they're in over and over again. When you need to get some people to go ahead and go to this show and watch it, you need to go ahead and create the fantasy that 57-year-old Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to come back out of retirement. He's going to have some kind of a match, as close to a match as possible, with Kevin Owens. Listen, I can't get into that feud like other people can because you can tell from a mile away how it's going to end. Kevin Owens will get stunned, and that's it. And all you did was build up to a KO segment. So what if they add a little bit extra plunder? Oh, remember they're like fighting around the arena. What if that were to happen? Okay. What if they did have a little bit of a fight that happened for a few minutes? That kind of a segment. What good does that do for Kevin Owens? Okay, this is just a gimmick just to get people to go to the event because it's in Texas and it's Stone Cold Steve Austin's hometown, and they decided, well, let's just get him back to do this here. We can make something out of it. So you're going to get people to just go ahead and show up, spend a whole lot of money just to hear the glass break. He come out, do his own thing, which we've seen him do a bunch of times just to go and make appearances. What's so special about this appearance? He made one segment to promote it. Everything else has been Kevin Owens, to his credit, making something out of nothing. This match has nothing in it at all. Nothing. So all you're left with is trying to find the best way to go ahead and stir up some interest. And Kevin Owens has done what he can. He's been stunning security guards. He's dressed up as Stone Cold, did the whole, fake gimmick to Chicago. Other than that is actually being considered as a main event on night one. Really. There's nothing else you can think of. Like, there should be a title match there. Of course, you only have 3 title matches, and you're going to throw the women's title matches on Saturday. and then that one major title match on Sunday to close it out. Like, I would rather prefer Becky or Bianca or Charlotte or Ronda close out the night where Ronda wins the championship on night one, and that's how you close it out. But there's no value after this. Listen, Kevin Owens destroyed Shane McMahon. What has that done for him? Okay, he's fought Seth Rollins. He's fought Randy Orton. He's fought whoever. John Cena was the one guy that truly made him such a bigger star because he was, when Kevin Owens came in so quickly after NXT, and they jumped him right up to the top. And John Cena worked with him. Immediately up to the top. And Kevin Owens has been a certain level this whole time, ever since he's been there. He is a workhorse. He has done he's a taskmaster. That's what I call him. Him and Sami Zayn are taskmasters. And so are some of the other wrestlers. They are good, loyal servants to Vince. And they will do what they need to be told to do, and they'll go along because they're getting paid well and they have nothing else to prove. There is no reason for them to say, okay, we need to be champions again. No, because Kevin Owens has been champion. AJ Styles has been champion. Drew McIntyre has been champion. Bobby Lashley's been champion. Taskmasters. It doesn't matter if they're title holders or not, even though they should be. That doesn't matter. Right now, going into WrestleMania, Vince and whoever else there, they don't trust anyone else right now. They don't have faith in anyone else on that roster of men besides Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns to hold the belts. 2 men, 2 belts. That's it. Because they never even considered having Roman Reigns take on somebody else for his title and Brock Lesnar holding for his title. They never even considered it. Not even a thought. When you have only 2 people in that main event title picture, and then you look on the women's side and you have basically, okay, you have 4, but 2 that are essentially part-time. Because Becky, I don't know if she's going to be out there. Well, she's been out there every week, so I got to give her credit. I thought she was going to be more part-time. But she's back full-time again. Ronda will be part-time. Ronda will be like the female Brock Lesnar when it comes to exposure and when it comes to involvement every week on the storylines. The off-season looks bleak because you have nothing there to work off of. You're not going to have another season of, July is here. We need to go and bring crowds back because of pandemic. No, you're not getting that now. You already have the crowds. You don't have anything else fresh to bring off to get this crowd up and at it after WrestleMania. So we're going to have the one night to enjoy. And then what are you going to do to build up Money in the Bank at Allegiant Stadium? What are you going to do to build up SummerSlam at Nissan Stadium in Nashville? What are you going to do to build up Survivor Series in Boston? Like, seriously. What if you have to go do that show in England? What are the matches? What are the compelling storylines that's going to sell out stadiums? What's the next show you're going to do that's going to get Saudi Arabia and the princes really happy? No one thinks this far down the road. It's just WrestleMania right now. Let's just get past this show, put all our cards into it. We got Undertaker doing Hall of Fame. There you go. Other than that, what's the outcome after this? What's the fallout from all this? Do we get anything at Raw after WrestleMania? No. Do all of you understand that when we get after WrestleMania, okay, we're going to enjoy the show. Sure. One-time thing. But look at how many names are going to probably not be on not going to be on that main roster after this. Okay? If you look at the card, let me tell you, I don't see Ronda Rousey being there all the time. We don't see Stone Cold again. And that's all there is there. Roman will be back to his normal schedule. Brock will be gone, probably, for a while, unless he wins. Edge might take some time off. You have all those celebrities that are going to be involved. They're not going to be around. Where's your star power? I mean, what are you going to do to keep people interested and intrigued and engaged? Yeah, you might have gotten 2 million viewers on Raw this week because it's WrestleMania before. And you put everybody you had. You put everybody except Stone Cold on the show to get the word out and to get a real go-home show going for WrestleMania 6 days away. Okay. But then what else do you have after that? I know this is not the conversation that many people want to hear before WrestleMania, but this is where I'm at with it. And I'm fed up about it. There's just no other answer to this. I say this now. I'll repeat it again. When fans are hoping Stone Cold Steve Austin will actually compete against Kevin Owens instead of a KO show, that tells you everything that is wrong with where WWE is going right now. You can't bring anybody new to build interest in that show. You have to go back to the heyday because you have nothing right now that works out. And some things could have been avoided. How bad would it have been to have Dean Ambrose still around? Or Daniel Bryan? Or how about Bray Wyatt? Was it important to see those three guys gone? I mean, there's other stars that we could have seen that could have been something here, but they were let go. Karrion Kross? Killer Kross? Hey, he's happy out doing other things. Looks like he's free and he's happy again. Keith Lee looks like he's happy too. What about all those NXT stars that moved over? Adam Cole? Hey, he's running after, he's chasing the world title in AEW. He's doing all right. I just don't see what is it that WWE is going to try to do right now to try to get interest after this show, because they're throwing all their eggs in this basket and there is nothing after this ready. What are they going to do? What is the plan in the off season? You build up for these 3 months of a year, and now what's the next 9 months you're going to do? You have to build up to another WrestleMania. Okay, you can build up the fact that Rock will come out and take on Roman Reigns after Roman wins the title, and that's the next time we might see Roman might lose that title, because The Rock will take him on in Los Angeles. That's the plan for that, if they can get Rock's availability possible. And he can get himself time to train, and he can go ahead and be a part of the show. But there's so much going on. He's got the XFL that's going to be launched next year. He's got his own projects. How's he going to have time for that? Shareholders, you want to ask this question the next earnings call? That's coming up soon. How about, are we going to have any answers at all? Is anybody asking these questions? Am I the only one even thinking about this? Because everybody else is all caught up on Stone Cold. Everybody's caught up on Roman and Brock. Yeah, sure. And I've exhausted myself talking about that. There has to be more. This company needs to lead the pack. They need to be trend-setting. They're going to trend-set with next in line. The student-athlete thing, I think, is going to work. But this gap right now of a steady decline that continues, that has not changed. They have done nothing to slow it down. And sure, they don't have to. They've gotten all their broadcast deals in place, but pretty soon they're going to have to think about what is next for them. What are they going to do to make sure they keep all their ducks in a row? Their broadcast partners are happy. I mean, how much shelf life do you have of all these stars? And remember, look at the stars you have right now and their ages, all right? Let's see how many 40-year-olds we have on this roster right now. Rey Mysterio, Drew McIntyre. I think Happy Corbin is getting, well, he's not up there yet. Steve Austin, but that's just tonight. You look at Sheamus is over 40. Kofi's over 40. When I look at Brock Lesnar's over 40. Edge, AJ Styles, over 40. Randy Orton, over 40. But nobody's considering all this right here. And I don't see any tag teams splitting up to make anything big difference, right? Nothing like that. There's a whole lot of this roster that it just feels there's nothing there. And, you ask yourself, okay, of all those people that they let go, yeah, there was some talent they had that they would have never brought up to this part of the roster. They would have never headlined a WrestleMania. They would have never had any kind of a featured match at WrestleMania. Matt Cardona, he's doing pretty well outside of all that. But nobody's thinking about all this. Like, nobody wants to look at this picture and say to themselves on WrestleMania weekend, the eve of WrestleMania, we're only, 4 days away? And I'm saying to myself, we're not thinking of any of that. And the other part is I'm looking at some of the matches that are coming up, and I'm enjoying the fact of seeing other things going on that, there are matches and stories that are coming up now that have me really interested. I mean, among the WrestleMania weekend. Like, that's the one thing. I mean, WrestleMania might have their weekend, but, before pandemic, let's not forget. 2019. When was that G1 Supercard? When was that? Was that 2019 or was that I'm trying to remember what the G1 Supercard was. Oh, wait. That's not it. Hold on. Yeah, the Supercard, I want to make sure and remember what that was. That was April 2019. So remember, before pandemic, WrestleMania was outshined before that by NXT shows, by takeovers. And then 2019, the last time they were competing, you had that G1 Supercard that was so huge, sold out Madison Square Garden. By the way, they sold out Madison Square Garden April that year. Meanwhile, they couldn't even get more than half of the arena filled for a house show leading up to WrestleMania this year. They're making it easy for me to pick on them. By the way, 16,534 at Madison Square Garden for that G1 Supercard. And WWE for their SmackDown, for their Madison Square Garden house show, I think it got 8,000. That was it. So nobody's considering all of that. And nobody's saying anything at all about what they're doing to make something more so that people care. No one's considering that at all. Meanwhile, there's some great matches coming up this weekend. I mean, we have the multiverse of matches. And let's go. We should go through some of those matches coming up that are coming up on the card. But I'm going to go through WrestleMania. We're going to go through the matches. I got a few more comments to make about WrestleMania. Plus, I need to go and talk about Impact Wrestling's multiverse of matches, which is Friday night, 9 o'clock. That's coming up. And then you have Supercard of Honor, which is also April 1st. And that'll be April 1st at 8 p.m. So you're going to have these two matches going on simultaneous. These two shows. And then they have a midnight show, by the way, Impact Wrestling, doing the throwback Impact Provincial Wrestling Federation brand. Funny. But they have nothing planned. Like, really, there's more excitement in the other events going on around WrestleMania than there is the show itself. The reason that people are going there in the first place. And I think for some people that go to that show, go to Texas this time around, they're going to go to the other shows. Like, I think some of them are not going to go and pay the oversized price to go to SmackDown and the Hall of Fame. You're going to have people there for that. But seriously, there's a lot of matches they have set up that are for other things. And they have pretty good matches set up. So, for instance, at Multiverse of Madness, you'll have X Division title on Ultimate X. Vincent, Chris Bay, Rich Swann, Blake Christian, Jordan Grace, so it's intergender, and Trey Miguel, who's the champion. Champ Challenge, where Deonna Purrazzo will defend the Ring of Honor World title or the Reign of the Reigners title from AAA. Fatal 4-Way for the Knockout Tag Team title. Savannah Evans and the Knockouts World Champion Tasha Steelz against Rosemary and Havoc. Giselle Shaw and Lady Frost. And the Madison Arena Tenell Dashwood, and I forget their name. The Impulse? No, what's their name? I forget. I know there's the Inspiration. And I don't remember what Madison and Tenille call themselves. The Influence. Yes, the Influence. Okay, I remember that now. So you got that going for you. Then, what are the other matches you got? And then you got the Bullet Club versus Impact, Jay White versus Chris Sabin, New Japan Pro Wrestling versus Pro Wrestling Noah. You got Tomohiro Ishii versus Eddie Edwards. Like, shit, come on. That's a pretty good match. The Pitbull against Eddie Edwards, that's a damn good match. Ring of Honor versus Impact, the Briscoes versus the Good Brothers. How are they doing this if they got Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor, and they're going to do, how are they going to do that? I don't know how they do that, because then the Briscoes have to fight here and they have to fight FTR as Supercard of Honor. I don't even know how that's supposed to work out, but okay. But either which way, you look at what they're doing right now. And then NWA versus Impact, Mickey James and Nick Aldis against Chelsea Green and the Impact Digital Media Champion Mark Cardona. Moose and PCO versus Josh Alexander and Jonah, and Alex Shelley versus Mike Bailey. That's a pretty good card across the board. Damn good card. And then when I look at the matches they have coming up now for Supercard of Honor, that's also a pretty good damn card they got as well. Actually, that show is at 6 p.m. Bell time, 7 o'clock Eastern. And that's April 1st. But either which way, you look at their card and you look at their matches they have set up, pretty damn good too. Oh, non-title for the Ring of Honor versus Impact match. It's just the champions versus champions in that. But still, it's a pretty solid card. And I feel more excitement for that than I do WrestleMania. What does that say about me? I guess I'm just not that big of a WWE fan these days. I watch it. I still know they're the top dog, but they're not giving me much to go and work off of, right? There's just not much there. But there's good matches even on the Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor coming up. I mean, I'll give credit, just to go and put something together. I appreciate what we're getting from Tony Khan to go and set something up just to keep people there to watch. Like, I give him credit for that. Some matches we don't have opponents for yet. We're still waiting for that. But when I look at the card for that, I say to myself, wow, there's something good about that. You already know that we're going to have Ring of Honor World title, Jonathan Gresham versus Bandito, which, by the way, Bandito dropped the belt, and Gresham was interim champion. So to see who's a real world champion, that's going to be defended as Supercard of Honor. Briscoe Brothers versus FTR. I'm sorry, that's the best. That's the most intriguing tag team match of the weekend. Not the matches they have at WrestleMania. FTR and Briscoe Brothers, that's the best tag team match you got going this weekend. Period. End of story. Then you got Shane Strickland versus Alex Zane. Joe Hendry and Ninja Mac will be in action. Jay Lethal versus Lee Moriarty. That should be pretty good. Ring of Honor interim women's world title, because Adriana Parasso has the other title. Willow Nightingale versus Mercedes Martinez. And what should be a pretty compelling match, Wheeler Yuta versus Josh Woods for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. That's all interesting to me. So we got those matches coming up this weekend. Other than that, WrestleMania, what do we have? What are we getting from that that's going to really stand out? Let me get a few more notes about WrestleMania before I move along to the matches and give predictions for it all. I said this already, but I'm going to repeat it again. No doubt the card will be really good. The matches, the crowd will make the show. They always do. And we're going to feel good after the show, because that's what they're going to do. It is still the spectacle that it is. But this company continues to allow stagnation and mediocrity to become commonplace, where this company is incapable of any fresh ideas or fresh gimmicks or fresh characters. And I write this to draw a younger audience, the next generation of wrestling fans from the mainstream. These diehard wrestling fans that are 50 plus years old like myself, we're not going to be around all the time. We're not going to be spending the kind of money on T-shirts and merchandise and other things. We're not. What is compelling? Let me just repeat it again. Who on this card right now for WrestleMania weekend, of the stars you have that are celebrities, Logan Paul, he's been around a long time. He's an established YouTube star, boxer, influencer, period. But even his audience is a little bit older. And the truth is, him doing wrestling here is no big stretch from him. But you know what? He makes more money and makes more buzz doing his boxing matches than anything else that WrestleMania is. I think so. Logan Paul fighting somebody, he sells more pay-per-views that way. He's able to go and get the damn MGM Grand sold out. Who knows what kind of deal? What was it, Hard Rock Stadium? He was able to get, a big crowd for during pandemic to have his show at and pull it off. But then who else is there that's for the younger crowd to really get into? I guess you could say Becky Lynch. Ronda Rousey, she has her younger fans. Bianca BelAir absolutely has her younger fans. Rey Mysterio? Okay. And I'm looking, Usos, sure. I guess Rick Boogs. New Day, obviously, that's really a younger generated fan base for what they do. Austin Theory, maybe, I guess. I don't know. Sasha Banks, Naomi, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan. Okay, I guess so. Johnny Knoxville, listen, that's a star that's been around for 20 plus years doing Jackass. And, it's an aging star. That's not of a younger generation. That's not anything that's related to what's going on in this TikTok, social media, Instagram generation, the YouTube generation. What are you doing that's going to attract those kids, Gen Z, millennials? What are you doing that's going to direct them? You got some things you're trying to work out right now at NXT, sure. But what's the chance we're going to see something come of those stars making it back over to the main roster? There's some stars I think they have some promise, but that's all it is promise. And they could very well do the same thing like they did with those other stars in NXT, where they could just crash and burn and fail. They could do that too. They have some stars in NXT that could move over right now. They could have moved over LA Knight and Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai, and you could do it. You can move the Legado del Fantasma. You can move them over there, sure. You can move Diamond Mine. You could do that, but they're not. You could see potential in Von Wagner or Grayson Waller or Braun Breaker or Nikita Lyons or Tiffany Stratton or whoever else you got. But they're not. They're not gonna have that immediate thing. I think Braun Breaker has all the chance to go and break out and become a big star. Like, he has everything. Are they going to let him? Or are they going to humble him by make sure he drops? He has to take matches and losses with everybody on the roster before he gets his shot. That's still the thought process now in the company. And I feel like if certain gimmicks get over, it's because they're related to something else, right? It's kind of like the old mentality of, let's do superheroes. Let's do a gambling person. Let's do something else. Like all these generic gimmicks that would be from an older, that would be relatable to different generations. I don't know. But that's what they're feeling right now. And I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. I just feel like there's more from AEW that gives me stars that would have younger demographics and would draw more people in. Now, AEW is still in general, it's still just a slightly younger. But they're still around, their medium age of audience is still around the mid-40s, while Raw and SmackDown are still in their 50s. It's not good. And part of it's going to be because of what they're doing on cable. I don't know what else they got that's really going to stand out, but these are the things that nobody's considering. Anyway, let's do predictions right now. Now, as of this moment, as of press time, I'm going to say that I probably will not have time. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do on Friday. I probably should. I might just go and stay home and watch the damn pay-per-views. I'm probably going to go and do that. Like, I would go see Morbius this weekend. I don't know yet. I don't know what I want to do. I guess I could. I guess I could go and sit and watch the pay-per-views on Friday, the Super Card of Honor and Multiverse of Matches. I think I might just do that. I don't know yet. I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll go see Morbius on Thursday. Maybe I'll go and do that, and then I'll go and watch the other pay-per-views. That might be what I'll do. I'll see if I go watch Morbius on Thursday night, and then I will go ahead on Friday, stay home, watch all the Impact and Ring of Honor stuff, do a post-show on Friday night. Saturday night, do night 1 of WrestleMania and NXT Stand and Deliver, and then Sunday night, night 2 of WrestleMania 38. So I might just do 3 shows that weekend. I think that's what I might do. Anyway, you let me know if there's any change otherwise. On Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, at King of Podcasts. Just reach out to me between now and then. You let me know what you want me to do. Do you want me to do a lot of shows? I'll do a lot of shows. I'm thinking about it. I just don't know if I want to do the Friday night show. I'm thinking about it. I could just slash it on the WrestleMania Night 1, but I don't know yet. I'm not sure what I want to do. I'll think about it. Give me some time. So night 1, WWE SmackDown Women's Title, Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. I say Ronda Rousey's going to win it. It's time for Charlotte to drop that belt. And I honestly, Charlotte's one of the few stars that has not changed much in character at all. We need to see it. We need to see some evolution of her character. She needs to evolve the character some more. The Queen thing, like, we just need to do something more with her. She needs to have something happen where Ronda basically really just destroys her and Charlotte changes. Something needs to happen. And by the way, Alexa Bliss, nowhere to be found. She's healthy and all, and I don't know what happened. But remember we were having that in WrestleMania, and then it just kind of like just went by the wayside, and that was it. Becky Lynch versus Bianca BelAir for the Raw Women's title. And I'm afraid they might not let Bianca win. They could very well have it where Becky wins, but I'm going to take Bianca BelAir to take the Raw Women's title. Rey and Dominic Mysterio versus The Miz and Logan Paul. I will take Miz and Logan Paul to win. Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin. I'm going to take Drew McIntyre to win. KO show with Kevin Owens and Steve Austin. Yes, Steve Austin will show up. They might have a brawl outside the ring. That's all they're going to do, a little bit of plunder. But then, or Steve Austin will show up in some kind of monstrosity, whatever. He's going to come out in something that will go after the ring. Like, it'll be, something similar to the Zamboni or the beer truck or whatever. I think that's what they're going to do to bring out Steve Austin. And they'll do something where Kim and Kevin Owens will have a tete-a-tete, and that's it. And Kevin Owens will get stunned, and Steve Austin will drink lots of beer, and that's what's going to happen. SmackDown Tag Team titles, Usos versus Rick Boogs and Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't think they're going to Boogs and Nakamura win. I mean, that feels like a SmackDown match that we've seen before. But I'm going to take the Usos on the victory. I don't think they're going to drop the belts anytime soon. New Day now, King Woods and Kofi Kingston, but actually King Woods is no longer. He's now Xavier Woods again. He's no longer called King Woods. The King gimmick that they made such a big deal about last winter, or last fall on SmackDown and Raw, yep, the King thing fades out. He comes back from injury, they're not talking about it anymore. So Xavier and Kofi versus Ridge Holland and Sheamus, and I think Ridge Holland and Sheamus win. Seth Rollins versus to be announced. I think it's Shane McMahon and Seth Rollins will win. Confirmed for night 2. Let's start with the Raw Tag Team titles. RK Bro versus Alpha Academy versus Street Profits. I will take Alpha Academy winning the belts back off of RK Bro, and I think that's where they have to set up Randy Orton and Riddle having their split. Because what else are you going to do with RK Bro? What else is there left to do? Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville, anything goes match. Johnny Knoxville will win. And there will be a lot of plunder in this match. And they'll go all around the stadium or whatever they're going to do. And they'll do some jackass type stuff where Sami Zayn will get hit in the balls or something else. They'll have like bugs or spiders or mosquitoes or some shit, snakes, something that Sami Zayn will have to go and do in this match to play good. The women's tag team title, that looks like she's kind of interesting. Carmella Queen Zelina, Sasha Banks Naomi, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, Natalya Shayna Baszler, Sasha and Naomi for the tag team titles. They did a nice little thing to put this together. I like it. AJ Styles versus Edge. I think Edge gets the win because he took the loss last year. Edge will win. Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. Well, it should be Austin Theory going over. And Pat McAfee is, feels sour after all that's done. And then Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. I say Roman Reigns retains and takes both belts. And I don't know what you do with Brock Lesnar after that. I don't know if he stays after that or not. But I don't know what else you do. I have enjoyed his run as a face. I'll say that. I think all they've done with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, it's been fun. But is there a whole lot of heat behind it? No. It's been fun. But there has been not a whole lot of heat. Like the whole thing with him breaking breaking dressing rooms and destroying cars. I don't think I get anything out of that storyline. Becky Lynch getting her hair cut by Bianca BelAir. I don't care about that. Ronda Rousey getting put onto a car and getting submitted. I don't care about that either. Like I'm just not like I'm not saying anything. Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! No, nothing surprises me by this company anymore. They have drained any thought of surprises or any kind of shocking things they could do. It feels predictable. It feels very predictable. And I know there will be a couple of outcomes that people will not be happy about. Some faces will lose and people will be upset. That's just how it's going to be. When I look at Impact Wrestling's Multiverse of Madness, I say Trey Miguel, man, that's going to be tough. I think Chris Bay wins the X Division title. I give it to him. It'd be nice to see Blake Christian. Might be nice to see Jordan Grace, but I think Chris Bay comes away. I don't know who's going to go after the Champ Challenge, but we'll wait. I haven't seen Roxy being scheduled for any matches, but I'd love to see her come back, go after the Ring of Honor Women's World title and win it back. I'm gonna vote for Roxy coming out at the Multiverse of Matches. I'm going to see. I think that's what's going to happen. I think Roxy will come back out because it was such a great match with those two on TV. I want to see Deonna Purrazzo and Roxy fight again. So let's get Roxy back out. Go after and get back her Ring of Honor Women's World title. Rematch. That's the Champ Challenge. I think that the Influence is going to win the Knockouts Tag Team titles. I think the Influence will retain. I think that Jay White will beat Chris Sabin, and it'll be an amazing match. I think Eddie Edwards will beat Tomohiro Ishii. I think the Briscoes beat the Good Brothers. I think Mickie James and Nick Aldis beat Chelsea. No, I think Chelsea Green and Nick Cardona will beat Mickie James and Nick Aldis. The couples versus couples. And I think that Josh Alexander and Jonah will beat Moose and PCO. And I think Mike Bailey will beat Alex Shelley. Supercard of Honor, Ring of Honor. I think Jonathan Gresham becomes the Ring of Honor World Champion overall. I think the Briscoes, man, I say FTR beats the Briscoes at Supercard of Honor. I say Shane Strickland beats Alex Zane. Jay Lethal will beat Lee Moriarty. I think, oh, this is tough, man. I think Willow Nightingale beats Mercedes Martinez for the interim women's world title. And I think Wheeler Yuta beats Josh Woods for the pure title. I do. So I think those are going to be going. And that's it. I'm not going to get to a full hour and fill it up. There's just so much more that's going to be covered this weekend. So expect a lot of coverage right here from yours truly, King of Podcasts. All weekend long, stay tuned to WrestlingIsReal.com. I will drop episodes down after the post shows for all this. I'll let you know about Friday. So if you see one on Friday, you'll know that I will cover the Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling shows. I will cover those for you. Now, here's the thing. If they're going on simultaneous and it's tough to catch both, then I'm just going to wait until Saturday to cover both, and I'll cover it after night one of WrestleMania 38. Just attach them. Or do it as a separate episode. I don't know. I'll do something. But we're going to cover it all this weekend. So stay tuned to WrestlingIsReal.com all throughout the weekend. And come back this weekend for the Wrestling Is Real podcast because wrestling needs us. Thank you for listening to the Wrestling Is Real podcast. You can find all previous episodes at wrestlingisreal.com or subscribe to the show on all major podcast outlets, including Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Follow the King of Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at King of Podcasts, and search King of Podcasts on YouTube, or type youtube.com/JBRASCO951. This has been a presentation of the King of Podcasts Radio Network.